Massacre Modern Motorsport Club South started its action in 2022 at Silverstone International for a fantastic event with the BRSCC at the end of March. The Intermarque Silhouettes for this year proudly sponsored by two companies for the year, along with Avon Tyres, who supported the series through 2021. We were joined by Image Wheels, and you'll be able to find all of the information on both of these companies in the description of our YouTube video. The cars would hit the track early on Sunday morning, and despite an oil pipe becoming detached, it would be Lewis Smith setting the fastest time in qualifying, just ahead of Steve Burrows and Daniel Smith. Eric Bolton, after some testing on Friday, claimed a fantastic 4th position spot. Behind him would be Malcolm Blackman, who also lost the time due to track limit penalties. Colin Smith would be next up, finishing up the top 6. Next up, and the leading senior runner, will be Mick Robertson, just ahead of Philip Young. Volker Tim returning to the series after a few years out, and Danny Hunn. Hunn only managed 3 laps due to a braking issue, but completing the grid behind him would be Nigel Beardsmore, John Price and Simon Hutt. The start of race 1 had to be aborted as Price was stuck on the grid with locked front wheels. Meanwhile, Bolton had gone into the pits with a broken front hub. Once the track was cleared, it would be Steve Burrows leading the way early on, with Lewis Smith faltering and falling back down to 10th position.
Ready for the lights to go out, which happens now. Away we go. We're racing in 2022. Good start made there by Daniel Smith, the blue Mercedes from row 2, and a slightly poorer start from Lewis Smith on pole position. He may have a problem actually, down to 4th place already by the time they get into that first corner. So immediately the man that was nearly a second faster than everybody else in qualifying has a bit of work to do, dropping down to 4th position here at the start. Through Village they go for the first time, and actually Lewis Smith still struggling, isn't he? He's got the silver Tigre now. I think that's Malcolm Blackman. No, sorry, it's Colin Smith, the silver one, right behind him. Lewis wide through Chapel as well. Now these cars do run on slick tyres, and all of that waiting around on the grid after their outlap won't have helped the tyre temperatures, but there is definitely something more sinister going on for Lewis Smith. He's slow out of Chapel and he's slow down the Hanger Straight, so the pole sitter looks like he's out of the race, and that changes everything. Now we have a real fight on our hands. This is for second place. Malcolm Blackman up the inside of Daniel Smith. Blackman started 5th. He finds himself 2nd as we come towards the end of the first lap of racing. Is he going to hang on to that into club corner? No, a bit of a lock up there from the Daniel Smith machine on the inside, but he does go back through into P2.
These three would pull clear of Colin Smith, who was currently in 4th, with Mick Robertson in 5th. Hunn was one to move through the field early on. He moved past Robertson and then reeled in Colin Smith, and he would eventually finish in 4th position.
And does close in slightly on the 21 Mitsubishi of Philip Young in front of him. The lead gap comes down to 0.4 of a second then. And monitor that as the laps go on, but there goes the Fiesta up the inside line, using that good handling ability that I mentioned to brake a bit later than the Mitsubishi and get the position back, coming down into Chapel Corner.
Lewis Smith retired on lap number 5 as Hutt grounds a halt with no clutch in his BMW, an unfortunate start to the season for both drivers. At the front there was a fantastic battle between the trio.
And Burrows under big pressure now. Steve Burrows almost gets a nerf in the tail there from Daniel Smith, who was so much quicker off the corner that he didn't quite time the run to the inside perfectly. Gets alongside now though, and will have the inside line for Stowe Corner. Is he going to be able to make this overtake stick? Yes he is, nicely done, and he slips the Mercedes through into the lead of the race. Can he get away though? That's the next question. Certainly Burrows will be looking to try and retaliate as quickly as he can. Down into club they come. Mercedes keeps the 2 Tigres behind. Now maybe the onus is on Malcolm Blackman to make this move stick quickly before the leader escapes. That's exactly what he does then. A mistake from Burrows through the first part of club, opened the door through the second part, and it is going to be Blackman that moves through into second position. There are still yellow flags out though. Well, saved by the yellow flag, Daniel Smith there, because he was definitely going to be under pressure into club from Blackman. Blackman almost ran into the back of him through Stowe, so much quicker was he mid-corner. But they couldn't do anything with it because the yellow flags prohibited him from overtaking the Mercedes into the next braking zone. He's very close though as they come across the start-finish line. Yeah, Daniel Smith moves right up towards the pit wall. There is no way Malcolm Blackman is getting through on the inside line, but this is where Blackman made a mistake a lap ago. He has another twitch, and now here comes Burrows with the run on him for second position. just seems to struggle to follow another car through there, does Blackman. Maybe these cars really are aerodynamically sensitive. Running in the dirty air, the aerodynamic wake of the car in front seems to be affecting Blackman quite badly, and yet doesn't seem to affect Steve Burrows behind him in third. So they're all right back together again as they head onto the Hanger Straight once more. Now this is where Blackman has been strong, down at Stowe Corner. As long as those yellow flags are still out at Club Corner, though, that is going to keep on protecting Daniel Smith in the Mercedes. Tigra does look like maybe a slightly smaller car, doesn't it? So maybe it's a bit better through the corners, and the Mercedes may be enjoying the high-speed element of the first sector. Now, I don't see any yellow flags this time, so the race is on. Blackman to the outside of Smith, who is sideways. They're both sideways, actually, and they go three abreast into Club Corner. Around the outside goes Burrows. Surely that's not going to work. He has to bail out of it, but he's going to get a better exit from the corner than both of the drivers in front of him. Just about with his nose ahead of the line was Blackman, but Smith is coming back at him, and Burrows is going to go on the inside of both of them as he looks to the inside. There's no way through, though. 4 minutes left on the clock, and this race is really coming alive in its second half. It looked like Daniel Smith had this in the bag midway through, but Malcolm Blackman did officially lead his first lap that time by 65 1,000ths of a second, and now he's wide at Village, though, and he's going to undo all of that hard work. Burrows comes back at him, and I think will take second place away from him through Chapel Corner, so car number 16 back into P2.
This fantastic battle would continue till the checkered flag, but eventually it'll be Daniel Smith taking the first win of the season. A truly fantastic way to start the season. Daniel Hahn would finish in 4th position in his fantastic looking Ford Fiesta. Next up would be Colin Smith in 5th. In 6th position would be Mick Robertson. He won the senior category. Behind him would be Philip Young in the ever impressive Mitsubishi Colt. And behind him in 8th position would be Volker Tim on his return to the series after a few years out. Fantastic to see him finishing in the top 10 with his Audi TT. We unfortunately had 5 retirements at the end of race 1. Nigel Beardsmore retired after 12 laps, Lewis Smith after 4, as did Simon Hutt after 4 laps too. We had Eric Bolton and John Price not completing any laps after an unfortunate start to the season for them.
Well, that was a very well put together race, particularly those last couple of laps where you finally managed to get the gung-ho in the car and you started to pull away.
Started to towards the end. I think Steve and Malcolm were battling, luckily, so it kind of let me get away a bit, but yeah, it was something's definitely getting a bit hot in there. It was definitely a bit smoky.
Yeah, I can actually see. Let's have a look at in the cockpit. You can actually see that would not have lasted another couple of laps or so, because it was getting pretty difficult out there.
It was seriously hot out there, yeah. The car, it's not too bad driving it, but the car was really on its limit around there, so but yeah, great fun.
Fantastic, and obviously that's a great way to start the weekend. There's another great race coming up later. Do you think you can get on top of those issues?
Well, yeah, I should see what it is. I think it must be an oil somewhere, leak somewhere, so we'll see what we can find and go from there. So cool.
Take a nice swig of oxygen. I think you've earned it.
We'll do, hard work. So.
Fair play. So there you go. Dan Smith was actually literally running the gauntlet there because the car was starting to cook a little bit. So he was very, very lucky that the checkered flag came out when it did. So a little bit nasty. Malcolm, long time no see. Good to see you, and a nice second place to start the day.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the car was good enough. I made a few mistakes where we haven't drove it for quite a while. So yeah, and I don't really know the circuit very well. So yeah, it was definitely got better as the race went on.
And life in the Modern and Classic Motorsport Club, it's looking pretty exciting these days, and what Mr. Culverhouse is coming up with, it looks pretty good for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if a few of the drivers, because they sort of split up and then they're coming back slowly, but I think this meeting was still a tad early in the season. A lot of boys are still expecting another month, so them who've never really done their cars at Christmas, they haven't got them done, and it's so hard to get parts now with COVID and the way it is. No one's got it on the shelf, so them who think they're going to ring up and order the stuff, like a friend of mine's looking for, I think there's 2 of them that's waiting for windows, and they're not here. So, you know, it's just, and you can't do nothing else.
Interesting. So now that the car, you've given it a little bit of a warm-up in that first race, the second one, can you push anything more out of it? Can you get the win?
If I don't make the mistakes, I've got a chance of winning. It's just, you know, with Dan, I picked the wrong side, then Steve blocked the hole, and it's just racing, you know, it's not fighting one, you're fighting 2, so you're trying to defend as well as overtake, and then I thought I had him, and then I missed the gear, and it's like, and then you've got to build it all back up again. So yeah, it was good. I mean, it's good. it's quite. Some of the races we've had at Brands have been quite boring. That was a really good, exciting. I should think it was good, exciting for everyone else to watch as well.
Yeah, we definitely enjoyed watching that, Malcolm. We're looking forward to the next one. Hope it's a good one for you.
Cheers, thanks very much.
For race number 2, the top 7 finishers were reversed, and this saw Young on pole position. This time we were missing Hutt, but we had Bolton back in the race, as with Price and Beardsmore, who managed to fix their cars. After starting ahead of his 2 main rivals from the first race, Blackman had made a fantastic start, and he rocketed up to the lead on the first lap of the race.
Red lights are on, they go out now. Good start made there from behind Daniel Hunt by Malcolm Blackman in the red Vauxhall Tigra, and he's going to be challenging for a good position into the first corner. In fact, he's going to get the lead. Is Malcolm Blackman in this contact, and that's Lewis Smith. Lewis Smith around, Hunt is off as well, and there's another one of the Mercedes off to the inside of the road. That's number 59, Nigel Beardsmore, and for the second race in a row, Lewis Smith is out of contention by the time they get to the first corner, although this time not due to a mechanical failure at all. He has rejoined, but whether there's damage to that Mercedes, I'm not too sure. Blackman got a brilliant start to get the lead of the race, second place for Burrows, and who came out of all of that in third? Oh, well, it's Daniel Smith. So it's the same top 3 we had in race 1, just in a slightly different order, with Blackman in front. Blackman was the one that spent the least amount of time in the lead of those 3 in race number 1. The Corrado, weirdly, is up to speed again, diving up the inside of the 267 of John Price, so don't really know why that car was slowing on the green flag lap, but it seems to have good speed again now, and I say it got past the 267 car of John Price. John did try and fight back again going into club, but just ended up locking up and running straight on. So that is the Ford off of Daniel Hunt.
He was soon joined by his regular sparring partners, Steve Burrows and Daniel Smith. Lewis Smith had fixed his Mercedes, but was involved in a lap 1 spin with Danny Hunn. Once he had got into his stride, however, he made up a good few places and was in 4th position by lap number 4.
Oh, wow. Blackman and Smith both on the limit of adhesion there as they went down into club corner. Steve Burrows' fastest lap of the race now, 1 minute 11.354. Is Lewis Smith going to be able to beat that or not? Let's wait and see. He's going to be the next car across the line in 4th. The answer is no, 111.7, as here Daniel Smith tries to get to the outside of Malcolm Blackman and just about finds a silhouette-sized gap. Puts on the outside into Village. The more they race each other, the more they delay each other, and the more they maybe allow Lewis Smith to close in. Oh, Daniel Smith goes through. How did he do that? He was completely out of shape out of Village, obviously carried so much more corner speed that he just drove alongside Malcolm Blackman, got the inside through the link, and off he goes.
At the front, it was Burrows now leading the race and starting to pull away. By lap number 5, Daniel Smith had got past Blackman for 2nd position, but there was now a 4-second gap to Burrows in the lead. Bolton had repaired his car and was running well, following Lewis Smith through the field, ending up in 5th position. Young had got the better of Robertson this time as they resumed their entertaining battle. However, unfortunately, they were both not finished the race after a last lap tangle, so the senior win went to Price just ahead of Volker Tim.
This Vauxhall Tigra of Steve Burrows is going to have a pretty strong day, having finished 3rd in the race earlier on today. He's going to lead most of the laps in race number 2 to win the 2nd round of the Classic and Modern Motorsport Club Intermarque Series. Checkered flag goes out to Steve Burrows with a pretty healthy winning margin in the end over Daniel Smith, who comes home in 2nd place. The driver of the race, though, no doubt about it, after spinning at the first corner, Lewis Smith gets himself back onto the podium in 3rd. Malcolm Blackman in 4th. 5th position for Eric Bolton. Here he comes.
Although Burrows had taken a fairly comfortable win, both races were really interesting and some fantastic battles throughout the field. Lewis Smith had also proved his Mercedes was quick, taking the fastest lap on his charge through the field to 4th position. Sadly, Hunn was able to rejoin on the first lap of the race, so he was taken out early on, but it looks like it's going to be yet another competitive year with many more potential winners.
That's more like it, Steve. That's what we came to expect from you. Race 2 was much better.
That was good. Yeah, I enjoyed that, boy. Yeah, it's good.
So,
very nice.
What were the issues in race 1 that kind of held you at bay?
We had a real close race in race one. A lot of respect between all three of us, and we just backed out of a few things and had a good time and put a show on, which was great. And this time I managed to get a good bit clear, and away we went.
Looks like it could be a very strong season from CMMC, and you've got, your Intermarque absolutely on point. It looks good, it goes quick. So is this a championship campaign starting up here?
We're having a go. It's not a championship, because we're not doing a championship, but I want to be consistent every meeting. Be good.
Come away with some nice silverware anyway.
Yeah, mate, yeah. There you go.
Good lad. Great job. Great race.
Thanks very much.
Excellent. That's more like it from Steve Burrows. Come over here again and have a look at Dan Smith's machine. It's done it again, look. That is an oven. That's absolutely crazy. I'm going to have a quick word with Dan. Well, what is it still the same problem again occurring?
Well, yeah, I think it's something on the front seal of the gearbox which is leaking. I don't know about the diff because that was leaking in the last race as well, but hopefully that might have sorted itself. But we'll have a look in a minute and find out. So, but yeah, bit of a struggle, but we got there. So.
The car slowly being held together by cable ties and hope.
Well, it's all mechanically there. It's just you lose a lot of grip when you get oil going on the wheels, but. To be honest, like I said, the tyres, they're never great at the end of the race anyway because they're too hot. So, but yeah, good fun.
Fair enough. Well, I'll let you push your car in. I wouldn't ask you to get back in it and drive it down the pit lane again. You might get some sort of carbon monoxide poisoning. Keep it going, but great job. Well done.
Thank you. Perfect.
Excellent. A first and a second for Dan Smith. He was very lucky to get to the end of the race. The most pristine-looking sideways Intermarque you're ever going to come across. This man was pushing it like Colin McRae at various points. I saw that cheeky little run out of the Vale. It was absolutely on full chat and opposite lock. We'll have a natter with him in a moment. Let's have a quick chat. Lewis Smith, or should I call you Colin McRae now? Because there were some moments when you were proper four-wheel lock.
Yeah, we was thrashing the nuts off it basically. But it was just unfortunate that mix-up at the start. I don't know what happened. I was on the outside and was taken out, but it happens. Luckily we didn't get no damage and we carried on. But yeah, it was a few hairy moments when we was going through the pack, just pushing the car so hard to get through really.
Driving a bit quicker on the red mist, or was it just the car was always capable of that?
Probably a bit of both, I would say. We've had no luck all day, and I thought it would be nice to get a good race finish today. And then that happened on the first corner, and I thought, we've got to go on a charge now. So that's what happened.
Thanks to all that joined us for the first round of the season at Silverstone. We look forward to seeing you once more at Liddon Hill in a few months' time, with hopefully slightly bigger numbers on the grid once everyone has prepared their cars. Thank you to all of the CMMCS club and staff members, and Lee Sutton for the report of round number 1.